Hi, Joanna Sanchez.
Hi.
I wanted to start off with you introducing yourself.
Hi, my name is Joanna Sanchez. I'm 20 years old and I am one of the co-founders for the SIDELINE project.
Great. Um, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and this is going to be at least 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how our answers go. And I'll
Okay.
start with the first question.
Okay.
Tell me about yourself in 3 sentences.
Well, I'm a first generation college student, a Latina college student, working towards a biology major, a bachelor's degree on biology. Hoping to minor in another thing, still figuring that out. I am an advocate for our undocumented community and our Latinx community. Um, oh my God. um, I I don't know. I like to do a lot of advocacy for our community. Okay. I am passionate about biology and STEM overall, as I think as a woman, as a Latina, going into a STEM field is really important for me in advocating for other young girls to um, for them to be inspired to go into a science field, because it is something a lot of girls around middle school lose interest. And I think we need more people to go, mostly minorities, to go into those fields of science, engineering, all of these IT positions, because we need people of color to go into these positions, because we are we're working towards a new world, and we need those people who have different ideas to shape the future world. And I think, going to those positions is essential for people like us.
That's great to hear. So, aside from that, do you currently work or go to school?
Yes, I am currently working towards my associate's degree at a community college. I work full time, and I am a part-time student.
You mentioned that you were a first generation student
Yeah.
currently in the STEM field, which is
Hmm.
amazing.
Thank you.
And I wanted to ask, what do you want to do in the field of medicine and biology?
In the field of medicine, I am really interested in just doing more research. I really was, I really became interested in pathogens, so just like infectious diseases and how they work. Also, just overall bacteria and viruses, how they work, because not all of them are, bad. Mostly all of them are not bad, but I'm just so interested in how they work and how they affect us. Also, in regarding research, I kind of want to do some research in cancer. When I was a little kid, an aunt of mine passed away because she unfortunately had terminal cancer. And I want to do more research regarding that, and how we help them and hopefully be able to cure cancer at some point.
That's amazing. Curing cancer is definitely something that I believe you can do.
Thanks.
And as mentioned before, you said you were a first generation student. How is
Mhm.
that like?
Um, it's not easy. I wouldn't say it's easy. It's hard in the way that as a Latina, a minority, going into a field that is prominently white, um, it's hard. Um, but I wouldn't say that it's impossible. It's not. I think we have a lot of people from generations um, before us that have done it. I think it's a learning process. You need to carve yourself um, your path. Finding those resources, sometimes you have to make those resources for yourself. You have to find individuals who are interested, advocate for yourself. I think that's one of the main things I've been learning, that as a Latina student or a person of color, you need to advocate for yourself, because sometimes your institutions are not catered to you, and you have to make safe spaces. You have to make just a space for yourself to feel welcome in your own institution sometimes, and find those resources or reach out to people who are interested in making these resources. And in that way, finding your voice, to, I think, as I mentioned, be an advocate for yourself, and finding other individuals who you can connect, and finding that group of individuals who you can, work towards within your institution to make those safe spaces. As a first generation student, I think, having, as I mentioned, a group of individuals who can help you through stuff, I think it's essential just to have that power movement. I don't know how to say it, but yeah, just to have those individuals. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. That's great to hear that you've been finding people to help you out throughout the process, because as another first generation student, I can quite, relate to that.
Yeah, I think we have to lose the fear of reaching out to individuals, because a lot of fear comes with being a first generation student, because finding those resources, a lot of them are out there, but sometimes reaching out, it's scary. But I think losing, as I mentioned, being an advocate for yourself, you have to lose that fear to speak out. And sometimes you are not only speaking out for yourself, but you're speaking out for a group of individuals who are afraid sometimes to speak out.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of people who are willing to help if you reach out, if you just, extend your hand.
Yeah.
Another question. Is there any clubs or activities you do at school?
Yes, currently I am the president for Matcha. It's a student organization. It stands for Movimiento Estudiantil Chicanx de Axtlan. We are advocates for the Latinx student community within our own institution. We advocate to reach higher education and create awareness in our institution, and that's regarding discrimination, racism, and obstacles students of color face. I think Matcha helped me definitely find my voice through advocacy. Making all these workshops regarding obstacles we face, meeting people who are in higher education or who are doctors and stuff like this, who look like me, has been really powerful and impactful for me, because during my whole education career, I never really saw somebody in those positions who looked like me, so I could see myself in those positions. I think it's really essential for people of color to see yourself in, a doctor or a lawyer, or those positions that you don't think, Latinx or any other minority can do. And I think it was just really impactful. And yeah, I think it really did help me find my voice. And I'm still finding it, but it initiated a whole stream of learning.
Yeah, I would definitely feel a lot better if I saw someone, of our background in those types of fields too, because you always see people who come from a sort of wealthier population region.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would look up to someone like you.
No, definitely. I think it's really necessary, because through Matcha, you also find your identity. You try to find that identity within an institution that, doesn't have that safe space for you to talk about your troubles as a Latinx student, or as a person of color, going into a primarily white institution. Talking about these issues is really important within students, because we can debrief, we can say you know what we're struggling with, because not only I think a lot of first generation students, not only are we struggling to path our way through education, but we also have other priorities, right? Our family, education, and if you're a part-time student and work full-time, that's just another, there's a lot of things you have to juggle, and not everybody can relate to you. And I think Matcha has helped me and other students finding um, that safe space to say all of these things that are struggles, and talk about you know politics. I mean, we talk about politics, and we see how our systems of government don't work for people of color. And I think it's been great to be knowledgeable politically, because it affects everybody.
Yeah, that sounds really powerful, especially, communication within your community with people you understand, the people who can understand you. It makes a difference.
Yeah, it definitely does.
So, another question that I have is, what do you see yourself doing in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I really want to become a homeowner. I really want to have a house for my parents. That's something I really want to look forward to. Also, I really hope that I've graduated from school, having a bachelor's degree. And if I do decide to go into medical school, in the process of actually, you know, um, applying to schools. That's my dream. Also, I really want to become a business owner. I really want to do something for myself and for my family. And I think within our family, I don't know, building something for ourselves has always been a dream of myself of mine since I was a little girl. So I want to do something like that, and overall just be there for my family, like I've always done, but also do something for myself. I think as Latinx students, we sometimes, or people, immigrant children, we tend to forget that we sometimes put our family first before ourselves. But I think our family, came to this country because they want something better for ourselves. And there's some circumstances where we do put our family first, but sometimes being selfish is not a bad thing. I think looking after yourself, your mental health, your future is really essential. Working towards what you want as an individual is important, and it hurts, but I think in the future you will see um, los frutos, right? You'll see what it's come from, that struggle. Because sometimes I think I remember this quote from somebody I really don't remember, but it's not my quote. Sometimes the door of opportunity is for yourself. It's not for your whole family, sometimes not even for your whole community, because Latinx students or people of color sometimes go to, really good schools, Harvard elite schools, right? But that opportunity is for that individual. But I think the people of color need to come back to their community and contribute back from what they've learned once they go out from their own community to grow.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that because being able to relate, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who are able to relate to that. Um, you kind of feel this guilty knot when you think about yourself, but
Yeah.
it shouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
And
think.
oh no, go ahead.
No, yeah, but I was gonna just follow up with what you mentioned. Yeah, feeling that guilt, it's a struggle. I think you carry that guilt with you, and you hear it a lot from people of color. Once they start working on their field, they get better pay than their parents, and that feels weird. And I think we have like struggles within, just figuring out how the world really works. I don't know, it is a struggle. Like, it's still a struggle for me, finding that space. But I think it's helped me to realize that sometimes those opportunities are for yourself and you need to grow, but then you'll have the chance to come back to your community and contribute. And that's what I tell myself, I'm working towards this. I'm doing this for not only me, but for my family. But right now I have to do it do it myself. I have to grow and learn just by myself.
Yeah, definitely. I hear you. Um, I think there's a phrase that I've heard before where it's like, if you can change one thing, let it be yourself, and that one thing is going to be able to change the world as long as you can change yourself.
Yeah, that is really true. My dad, he has that same quote. He's like, if you want to change the world, start changing yourself. And I take that really to the heart, because I think who you are, but just, if there's a certain thing that maybe you don't like, start changing maybe the way you see certain things and stuff like that. But I think I see where you're going.
Yeah. Anyways, I also wanted to follow up. I'd ask you what do you see yourself doing in 5 years? Could you tell me what you could be doing in the next 10 years as well? Anything different or new by then?
Wow, that's a long time. I really don't know. I mean, I really wish I haven't thought that far. My dad tells me, you need to start thinking about the future and how you're going to build it. But I do wish, within the 5-year mark or the 6-year mark, for TSP to grow. I really, really, I'm looking forward to see TSP having their own building where they can make a Latinx center for people, for Latinos, because predominantly Aurora is Latinx. And I think we need to have a safe space where we can do certain things, where young people can express themselves, find resources. I do wish TSB can be that, and I do wish it can grow to that, to be, that space where people can come. And I really wish that happened. Well, and, I do wish it happens. But no, I haven't really thought that far out. Sorry.
That's okay. Hearing about TSP, I also had a follow-up question. And how did TSP come about? Who inspired this organization, and what do you think is the most important thing to take away from TSP?
So the Silent Project was really essentially, well, the name has one meaning, but it really came about from the four co-founders. We actually initiated this last summer. It was around July, June. We all really talked about, we really just wanted to make a conference to bring resources to high school students, so they can know, how to apply to financial aid or how to apply to colleges, and also bringing those resources as well in Spanish, so parents can be, just so they can know, what is the pathway to higher education and how it looks for their students, right, for their sons and daughters. Just because from our own struggles, we understand that sometimes our parents are in no way just educated regarding, higher education. And sometimes we tend to be the ones that have to educate ourselves, support ourselves and, you know, as I was mentioning, pathway towards higher education, because you know, those resources sometimes are not in English, or I'm sorry, not in Spanish. So it came about just us being able to connect our stories because of our struggles in right now in higher education. It rooted from that. And then Jocelyn, one of the co-founders, she had a quote from a song. Um, and the song talked about being in the sidelines. It talks about how from J. Cole, you know, he talks about how, you know, he wished there was a guidelines for him to, you know, be successful. But, you know, he was just in the sidelines. So that really was impactful when we thought of, you know, when Jocelyn mentioned this quote, or this lyrics, actually, this lyric to us, because we were like, oh my God, this is what we're, you know, what we're talking about. This is what we were just talking about, our struggles. And it became, we were just brainstorming, and we were like, let's make a nonprofit. And and that's how really it started. And we were just starting to meet each other, make more, just brainstorm of the things, the possibilities that we could do as students, because we saw the lack of help for our Latinx students. I think bringing that information from somebody who looks like you is it's more powerful. I think it's really powerful. I mean, yeah, I understand going, you know, from other individuals is powerful, but seeing yourself in another individual, being able to see that, it's really powerful. And I think we wanted to do that. We wanted to be advocates for other students, because we understand those struggles for undocumented students, you know, and students overall, for our first generation.
That's great. That's really inspiring to hear about how you're in Matcha organizing, you know, a safe space for anyone to come and talk about their life and being a Latinx student, and as well as GSP doing somewhat of the same thing, but in an even higher level population. I think it's really nice to see that. And it's a beautiful thing when a couple people come together and go from zero to hero. That's what I'm taking from GSP. Definitely. So
Yeah, I think yeah, following up what we were saying, you know, it's just we've had a lot of support from individuals. I think we all have a role model in this, and we have somebody to thank, which is Ulises. He's a counselor that we all know, all the four co-founders, and he's just such a role model. Like, if it wasn't because of him, and because he advocated since he was, you know, young, and his legacy has led us to this. I think we are just, you know, part of his legacy. Getting to know him as a role model has it's just so impactful. And I don't know, there's more I could add for to that, but yeah, it's just people are so supportive, and our community is seeing that. And I think when our community is supporting us, you know, that's when we push, because, you know, we're advocates.
yes, that's awesome. And I know Ulysses, and I feel like he's definitely a very vibrant person. So having
Yeah,
a role model like that is a very good inspiration.
definitely. Yeah.
Another question I have is for you to name 3 monumental or life-changing moments that made you change your perspective of life or your life for the better.
Um, I think um, three things that happened that really changed my life. I think it was when my mom was diagnosed with schizophrenia. That was such a big turmoil within our family, because it was hard for her to um, just to accept the diagnosis. Like, it's still hard for her, but seeing her um, fight and just become better. I think I grew up a lot from that part of in my life. It was just right after high school, trying to help my family, put my education, as a priority with, of course, my family. That was a huge life-changing event that happened to me. It was definitely a point in my life that definitely changed a lot of what I do, because before I was just, really focused on school, but then it became advocacy, because then I started seeing how our whole world really, or just our whole country really works. And I think, yeah, that was really impactful for me. Another one would be, I think since I was little, seeing just selfless acts of kindness that people did. Um, I, my grandma, she used to give people, where she was a food vendor in Mexico. So my whole family are food vendors in Mexico. So seeing, like, I remember exactly this one case where there was this dad with his son um, who had cancer, and he only had a few centavos, so he could buy just like an atole and a tamal, and he was just giving that. That's the only thing he had to give his son. And I remember my grandma giving him every time he came, giving his son and him, food for them to feed themselves. And seeing all these little acts of kindness just really changed how I see life and how I see. It just helped me empathize with individuals. I think I would say the third thing was for me to, I guess, leave church. It's something weird, but I think it was just a life choice, the first kind of life choice I made for myself, to leave church. For me, and I'm not saying that it's for that this applies to everybody, but for me, it wasn't. It was a toxic place to be, and I really liked making that decision for myself. I think I grew out of my shell because of that, and yeah, I think, yeah, that was really life changing.
Those are really, sorry if you can't hear me. Hold on. Okay, those are really personal and deep stories that you've gone through, and it's amazing to see how you've held up for so long. So shout out to you for the person you are and for the things that you're trying to do for this world. It's really impactful and powerful. And shout out to the people who are helping you along the way.
Yeah,
It all makes a
definitely.
difference.
It really does. I think adding value to individuals is really important. I think my dad always told me to, like, if you ever go to a place, try to add value. Don't take anything, don't take value away from either an individual or a place. He's like, try to leave it, better or the same. I'm not sure if you're understanding me, but I think I really hold that teaching really close to me, because adding value to individuals, and Uli was one of the first persons that added value to my life after I told him my story, or in the environment I was living, in the situation I was living when my mom was diagnosed with schizophrenia. He was the first individual who added value to my life, and I'm so thankful because, he was like a pivot point in my life where I started finding my voice, and I'm just really thankful for individuals like him, Giselle, she's another co-founder, Alejandra, she's another advocate, and I'm just so thankful for those individuals because when they added value to my life, now it's not that I feel that I need to, pay back, but like ya me nació hacer eso. Like I felt coming from that dark place in my life and growing out of it and seeing myself bloom into something that I'm still growing, but I'm still seeing things coming from those struggles. But yeah.
Of course, and they sound like wonderful people.
Yeah.
And all of these people, is there a specific person or someone who inspired you most in your life?
I think a lot of people have impacted my life, but I think who holds number one, I would say, it's still my mom. That she's always fought for me, and I think since I was little, having me so young, she was 18 when she had me, and I can still recall, she, she sold like fruta picada in Mexico, she sold, things, and she made money to bring to the house, and she struggled so much, she started working since she was 13 years old, and knowing her story, knowing her resilience as a woman, is something I look up to every single day. And that's why I tell myself, when I'm when I have like a really, really strong exam or something, I tell myself, my mom, she's always been resilient, solo tengo que hacer por ella. So yeah, I think I think, yeah, she holds number one spot for a role model. She's dear to my heart, and I always hold her close. This actual what's it called, necklace, she gave it to me when I was a few months old, so I always keep her with me, and she's always in my mind.
Shout out to the moms. Divine femininity. I think I said that wrong, but it's really nice to have that female role model in our life. And being first generation student that you are, coming from not as much poverty, but a harder time making ends meet while juggling your family needs. It's definitely, I would say, a little overwhelming. So shout out to you always.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
It's okay.
But yeah, well, thank you so much for that. It's still a work in progress all the time, but thank you.
Oh, no need. I have just a final question to wrap things up for our meeting. If you had the chance to change anything in your life right now, would you change anything?
I thought about that. I thought of that question along a lot of times. I think it's a form of escapism when I was younger, to think about my life in a different way. What would if? But no, I don't think so. I actually don't. I don't think I would be here if it wasn't because I've I've gone through all those obstacles in my life, all those journeys of learning, I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be the person I am today. And I'm just thankful for for all of those things. Some of them are, I mean, trauma comes with life, and it's hard. I wouldn't say it's easy, but no, I wouldn't change it for anything. I'm just grateful I'm here today talking to you. I'm grateful just to be present this moment, being able to share my story, my life, and being able to advocate. I'm just grateful, and I think I've learned throughout everything that I just should be grateful for right now, for the moment I'm living, and look forward towards what's gonna be next in my life. And I think that's something I learned from my mom. You know, siempre estás luchando. That's all.
Well then, okay, I just wanted to thank you so much. This was great, and it was great chatting with you. Thank you for sharing your experiences, personal, with us. And lastly, thank you for your presence. You're inspiring.
Oh,
And I believe that the souls you fall upon will be inspired as you are inspired by them. And nothing but greatness. Thank you so much.
well, thank you so much for everything, and whoever listens to this interview, I hope I added some value to your life. And thank you so much for your time, Brenda. Um, bye. Oh, and
Bye.
stay safe. Stay safe at home. Bye.
Of course. Stay safe. Thank you so much.